On both of the next questions, what we have to do is combine up the different radicals, either multiply them together or put them together in division first, and then start the simplifying steps. So I could multiply all of this together and write it as 54x to the fourth under there. Because they are both cube roots, I'm allowed to do that. And then I can start breaking this down. So 54 is 9 times 6, 3 times 3, 3 times 2, and this is technically 4 x's. Now my root out here tells me I need a group of this many in order to bring one out. So I can see I have a group of 3 3's and a group of 3 x's. So I can bring out a 3, I can bring out an x, and then these are stuck, so they simply stay under there, and then that's my final answer. So it's just that there's one step of putting them all together first before we start the simplifying process. Now a tip, this one wasn't too difficult, but a tip would maybe be that instead of actually multiplying the 9 times 6 together, just leave it separated. Just leave it as 9x to the third and 6x. Because why make your number bigger just to make it smaller again? So perhaps I could just leave it separated like this, and that might save me a little bit of work. I'm going to arrive at the same answer. But if that number, 54 is not a hard number to break down, but if you multiply it out and you get a gigantic number, then maybe you've made this step right here more difficult on yourself. So you can either multiply it all out and then start breaking it down, or you can kind of leave it separated and just start breaking it down directly from there. Okay, so let's look at the division one that's similar to this one. This one is very similar in the fact that I start off with two different square roots, so I want to combine them all up. So I'm just going to put them all under a single radical first. Now on this one, I would like to make this look as nice as possible before I get started on simplifying it. So one thing I notice is that 336 divided by 3 does reduce. I can reduce that to 112. Can reduce that to there. And then I don't like the way that it's written with negative exponents. I'd like to fix that. The way to fix a negative exponent is simply to move that part to the other place. So I'm going to move those 5 up to the top, move them up here, and then what I've got is I actually have 8 x's up on the top, and everything on the bottom has disappeared. So there's nothing down here. I can leave it over 1, or I can simply get rid of it now. But from this step, this is then where we want to start breaking things down. I'm not familiar on everything that divides into 112, but I know it'll divide by 2. So if I divide it by 2, I get 56. Then I can do 8 times 7, and 4, 2, 2. So this one breaks down pretty far. And then the x to the 8th means I have 8 x's strung across here. And because I have a square root, it means I'm looking for groups of 2. So let's see, here's a group of 2's. Here's a group of 2's. And then I can find 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 2 x's. Looks like my leftover piece is going to be this 7. So now I can bring out a 2, another 2. I can bring out 4 x's, and stuck under here is a 7. Then I would just want to simplify that by multiplying all of this out here out to 4x to the 4 square root 7. So really these larger problems, they're just one extra step from the simplifying, and it looks like you did fine on the regular simplifying ones. So these, just try to work on the actual numbers that are under the roots first, simplify them down, combine them up, make them easier to look at, Then start that simplifying process where you break your numbers down, find the appropriate groups, and bring out what you can.